Mammary sweat glands right here, or eccrine, they're most common. Now if you look at those eccrine sweat glands right here, mammary, eccrine are the same. Those sweat glands goes directly onto the skin, onto openings of your skin. It doesn't go to an actual hair, right? So when we look throughout your rest of the body, we will have lots of mammary or eccrine sweat glands. They're most common, and for the most part, they release watery form of sweat. Those type of sweat has no smell to it. And we release sodium chloride into the ducts, and water follows it. And normally, there's no smell to it. So when you get hot in the summer, and you see all of the little droplets of water coming on your forearm, right? If you smell it, it shouldn't smell at all. So it shouldn't smell this type of sweat. The main purpose of this type of sweat is for you to then evaporate it out. As that sweat evaporates, you can cool your body. So you need that evaporation for cooling of the body. They have their own pores. Now, it doesn't contain any fats. Because of that, you don't have a smell to it. But you do have a little bit of ammonia and urea that's produced. And that gets released into the sweat. So I always use that example. Have you ever kind of worked out, put your clothes into the locker, and forget to take your clothes home? All right, and then you come back, the shirt is dry, so you smell it. As you smell it, you smell that kind of weird smell of ammonia on your shirt, right? It's probably more common with guys, right? And with guys, well, that ammonia smell is because you do release some ammonia and some urea as part of our sweat gland, all right? So it is that watery sweat meant to cool the skin. The last type that we'll talk about are apricot sweat glands. These start to be active at puberty, and these are the ones that produces body odor. They're found in the axilla. They're found in the near the external genitalia. They're also found between the legs. So in those and around the anus. So those areas where you don't want to put your nose around, right? Those areas, and the actual secretion isn't what smells. It's a secretion that has phospholipids and fatty acids. It's a bacterium living on our skin there that uses the phospholipids and the fatty acids to produce that kind of smell to it. So it's the bacterium of our skin that actually uses the fats and then produces a bad odor as a result of using those fats. Again, kind of know the difference. Sebaceous, holocrine, nice thick secretion, goes into a hair, allows us to make our hair nice and supple. Eccrine, mammary, the good type, allows us to cool by producing watery type of sweat, release it to the skin, and we'll talk about how it cools in just a second. And then apricot, found in the axilla, found between the legs, found around the anus, I know, right? In the external genitalia, it produces a kind of a fatty type of sweat that will then get picked up by our bacterium, and that's where our body odor comes in. Then the last one that we'll talk about are ceruminous glands, and these are modified mammary sweat glands. The main purpose is to produce a little bit of earwax, combination of sebum and secretions from the ceruminous glands. The function of earwax is in kind of, the combination with hairs, prevent dirt and insects from entering, and keeping the eardrum internally freely movable and supple. Right? Mammary glands, we'll talk about in the reproductive chapter. Right? These are modified apricot sweat glands. It's kind of weird that our mammary glands are actually type of sweat glands. And they only activate with the release of oxytocin and progesterone when we are, pregnant, when you are pregnant. There's no we, right? All right, let's take a little break. Come back.